I'm Dr. Dawn Koontz, and you're watching Timeouts, an easy how-to guide for 1 to 6-year-olds. Who hasn't heard of timeouts these days? Parents use them, teachers use them, babysitters use them, coaches use them. But what are they really? When do you use them? How do you do one that works? How long should it take? What ages are they appropriate for? In my private practice, these are some of the most common questions that parents have for me, and I hope that by the end of this video, you'll have the answers and skills that you need for a successful timeout. What is timeout? The term timeout was coined by behavioral psychologist Dr. Arthur Stott in the late 1950s. Dr. Stott found that if he removed his young daughter, and later his son, from positive situations when they were misbehaving and removed all attention from them until they were quiet, they would engage in fewer misbehaviors in the future. It was really a time out from pleasurable activities. Because he was a behavioral psychologist, Dr. Stott and his colleagues researched this method with other children in the mid-1960s and through the 1970s. Results of his research showed that timeout was an effective form of discipline for reducing negative behaviors while increasing the likelihood of positive behaviors. Since that time, timeouts have become a popular form of discipline in the United States. Timeouts are most effective for toddlers and preschoolers. Older children, and even adults, benefit from timeout when they are losing emotional control. But timeouts have a different look and feel to them than timeouts with younger children. For the purposes of this video, I will focus on timeouts with 1 to 6-year-old children. Before you start using timeout, it is important to decide what behaviors should constitute a timeout. To keep it simple and successful, make sure that you choose 3 or fewer what we call target behaviors to focus on. At my own home, aggression, such as hitting or kicking, constitutes one of our target behaviors for an automatic timeout. Other parents may choose target behaviors like arguing, yelling, talking back, going outside without permission, not following directions, throwing things, threatening, lying, or stealing, just to mention a few. Take some time right now to write down 3 behaviors that you would like to focus on with your own child. Now that you have some behaviors to focus on, let's do a little prep work. You'll need a few key items to get started. First, you'll need a portable kitchen timer. This is mine. I think I got it at Walmart or Target for around $5. The general rule of thumb is to put a child in timeout for 1 minute of quiet time per year of age. So a 1-year-old would sit quietly for 1 minute, a 2-year-old for 2 minutes, and so on until 5. 5 minutes should be the maximum time required, even for a 6-year-old. Okay, so you've got your target behaviors and your timer. Now, you'll need a safe and distraction-free place in your home to put your child in timeout. For 1 and 2-year-olds, a pack-and-play type of playpen that is not used for playing, or a high chair, not the one you use for regular meals, turned toward a wall works well. For 3 to 6-year-old children, a heavy chair, so they can't tip themselves over or move, placed in a hallway, kitchen, or corner of a quiet room will work. Make sure that the room is well lit and not scary or dangerous to your child. Also make sure that the room is not fun. The child should not have access to any toys and should not be able to see the TV or watch out a window. The goal is a quiet, safe, and very boring place. So now we're ready, right? For 1-year-olds, yes. But for older kids, well, not quite. For children ages 2 and up, We actually need to explain to our child what we are doing and have them practice. Caitlin, what we're going to do today is we're going to come up with a list of things that in our house will get you a timeout, okay? Now we're going to try to come up with a list of 3 things that will get you an automatic timeout, okay? So if you had to think of one thing that should go on our list, what should it be?
No hurting or no hurting something or somebody.
Okay, so no hurting someone or something. How about we say on purpose? Because sometimes we might break something on accident or, step on somebody's toe or something on accident. So how about we say no hurting someone or something on purpose. Okay, if we hurt someone or something on purpose, that'll get us to timeout. So that means hitting, kicking, spitting, shoving, pulling hair, scratching, any of those things, okay? Okay, what's something else that you think should get a timeout in our house?
Doing disrespectful things.
Doing disrespectful things, okay. Do you think yelling is disrespectful? Okay. Do you think rolling your eyes at somebody is disrespectful?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think walking away when they're talking to you is disrespectful?
Yes.
Okay. So all of those things would be disrespectful, or if you're talking back. So right now we have hurting someone or something on purpose. Let me write these down because you were coming up with some good ones. Okay. And we have yelling or being disrespectful. Okay. What's one more thing that we could put on our list?
Let's see. Not paying attention.
Okay. What about not following directions?
Yes.
Do you think that should give you a timeout? So if mommy or daddy ask you to do something and you don't do it, do you think that should get you a timeout?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to put not following directions. Okay, so now we have 3 things on our list that will automatically get you a timeout. Now, do these things seem fair to you?
Yes.
Okay, so these are the things that will get you an automatic timeout in our house. Now, let me tell you one more thing about timeout, though. I have 2 rules for timeout. Okay, this timer that I have does not start, okay, until you are sitting in the chair quietly. Okay, if you are over in the chair and fussing and yelling and talking to your sister or whatever, I'm going to have to restart this timer. Now, the more often I have to restart it, the less time you're going to have to play and do the things that you want to do. Okay, so it's in your best interest to go right to the chair, sit down, and let me start the timer. Okay, now my second rule is if you leave timeout before your time is up, then I'm going to ask you to go sit back in the chair. And if you don't, I'm going to have to help you get there, okay? And I will put you back in the chair. As many times as you get out of the chair, I will put you back. But, you know what? That takes up time too because I can't start the timer until you're in the chair. So you're going to lose time to play if I have to keep putting you back in the chair. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So you know the rules?
Yes.
And you know what gets you a timeout? Okay. So in a few minutes, we're going to go practice a timeout. Does that sound like a good thing?
Yes.
I think so too. Hey Caitlin, you know what? In a few minutes, we're going to need to head out of here and go someplace. So this is actually a really good time for us to practice timeout. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to pick up all these toys and take them to your room, okay? And when I do that, you're going to tell me no so that we can practice, okay? So here we go. Caitlin, I need you to pick up all these toys and take them to your room.
No!
Okay, I need you to go to timeout.
Oh, Bob, get me out of here now!
Okay, I'm having to restart your timer. When you're loud, as soon as you're quiet, I'll restart it.
Just get me out of here! Now, Bob!
starting it. Now that you're quiet. Finally, we're ready. Plan a day when you can devote yourself to the whole day at home to start to use time out. Following an undesired target behavior, we'll use hitting for practical purposes. Say, time out hitting. Keep the words you use to a minimum, but always start with time out and then the offending behavior. For example, time out arguing, time out not following directions, time out lying. This is not a time for a lecture. Do not speak to your child again until after the time out. Turn your back to your child and do not look directly at him until the timeout is over. You can make the timeout even more effective if you can leave the room entirely. If your child runs from you or has trouble getting to timeout on his own, pick your child up, his back to your chest, this is not a hug, or take your child by the arm and gently but firmly lead them to timeout. Remember not to say anything else to your child. You may have to do this multiple times over a 30-minute period until your child finally submits to the timeout. Your child will learn over time that it is easier to just go to timeout, but be ready for your child to test you to your limit the first few times you implement timeout. Don't give up. With patience and consistency, this will work. Once your child is sitting quietly, set the timer for the appropriate number of minutes, 1 minute per year, up to a maximum of 5 minutes. If your child starts to cry, scream, or even use bad language, reset the timer without saying anything. If your child gets out of the chair, put him back in promptly. After your child has served his timeout quietly, look him in the eye and calmly say, "You have been sitting quietly for 3 minutes. You may get up now." If your child was put in timeout for not following directions, like picking up his toys, also say, "Please pick up your toys now." After time has been served, there is no reason to immediately discuss the deed that got him there. If the misbehavior needs to be discussed further, like lying or stealing, pick a time when you and your child are calm enough to discuss the behavior, the consequences, and possible solutions together. Within 10 minutes of a timeout, parents should look for behaviors to praise and opportunities for positive physical affection. Children ultimately want to please their parents and will work hard to do so. That's why we need to let them know which behaviors we love to see. Plus, the more time a child spends engaging in positive behaviors, the less time they will have for engaging in negative ones. Now, let's watch a whole process from beginning to end so that you can get a good feel for it. Please note that we have edited the length of this timeout so that you don't have to watch all 5 minutes of it.
Harley, stop taking my thing!
Timeout yelling!
I don't want to go in timeout!
You can either come on your own or I can help you. You decide.
Ooh. Ooh. I don't like you anymore. Ooh. I don't like you anymore. Ooh. I hate you. Ooh.
Okay, you've been sitting nicely for 5 minutes now. Now, do you know what you need to go do?
Yes.
What?
Say sorry.
We need to go find your sister and apologize to her.
Okay.
One of the most important things to remember is to make sure to set aside time for individual attention for your child each day. We call this time in. During this period, parents should actively engage with the child. This means for the parent and child, no TV, phone calls, or computer activities during this quality time. Let your child determine the activity and go along with it enthusiastically. Parents who spend more time in will have children who need fewer time outs. Additionally, time out will work better for children who get plenty of time in because they will miss it. In summary, parents should spend as much one-to-one quality time with your child as you can. Focus on no more than 3 target behaviors for time out. Let your child know which behaviors will not be tolerated and will automatically result in a timeout. Speak to all caregivers about which behaviors you have chosen and make sure that everyone is willing to give timeouts the same way for consistency. Make sure you have a timer, heavy chair, and appropriate designated spot for the timeout. Have your child practice. Make sure that siblings know that any teasing or talking to the child in timeout will get them a timeout also. Pick a day to start that you will have time to devote at home to the proper timeout technique. There should be no warnings, only timeouts for target behaviors. You will simply say, "Timeout hitting," and proceed to put your child in timeout. Remain calm. Do not talk to or scold your child in timeout. Simply reset the timer each time your child yells or tries to leave timeout. If you are able to trust the child to stay put, leave the room. If not, turn your entire body and face away from the child to minimize attention. If your child leaves timeout, bring them back as many times as it takes until they can sit quietly. Once timeout is over, get down on your child's eye level and state, "You have been sitting quietly for 3 minutes. You may get out of timeout now." Within 10 minutes of a timeout, look for behaviors to praise and opportunities for positive physical affection. If timeout is still not working for you, check the following things. Are you giving warnings? Are all adults giving timeout the same way for the same behaviors? Are other adults giving warnings? Is the timeout spot safe, quiet, and boring? No TVs or windows? Are you or others giving attention to your child while in timeout? No eye contact and no talking. Are you staying calm and avoiding yelling when placing your child in timeout? Are you setting and resetting the timer appropriately? If you feel that you have followed these steps and timeout is still not working for you, it may be time to have your child see a child psychologist. Some children may have more severe issues, like violent aggression, or disorders, like autism or bipolar disorder, that hinder timeout from working as it should. Once these issues are addressed and managed by a qualified child psychologist, other behavioral strategies may be put in place to assist with discipline, and the child psychologist can oversee that the strategies are being implemented appropriately until you are satisfied with your child's behavior. Please refer to our free video on how to go about finding a qualified child psychologist. Thanks for watching. We hope that you found these guidelines on timeout useful for helping you to manage problem behaviors in your child. Remember, the more you train your children appropriate behaviors when they are young, the fewer disciplinary problems you will have when they are older. As a parent, you have been given the privilege to raise the adults of the future. What an exciting challenge!